back again and continuing our chats about the material that I got in collaboration with Shabaka and others. Perhaps we'll be following through on more about that, but I wanted to dwell again a little bit on the whole area of communication with our guides, because over the years in talking to people and working with people, seeing people, this has been come up time and time again about how can we find easier communication with our guides. And naturally, and indeed it was so with me, you know, in the early stages of wanting to be able to see them and to hear them and to have them sit beside us and so on, to make it more obvious in that way. And yet, the way it was explained to me, of course, and I think I mentioned this already, like that if we had it like that, we'd be just robots. So it has to fit in with our own way of finding ourselves, of finding our own way, our own importance, if you like, in that sense, and having our own free will and not having that interfered with, that we'll always have the freedom to do that. We're looking for direction all the time as to which way to go, you know, and then that we get controlled by that, and indeed we become more like robots. So yes, obviously we have these guides who are willing and able to help us, and obviously for them it's helpful if we are more conscious of that, and if we work with them in a conscious way. How to find easier communication then? Well, one of the problems is that, say suppose that we have something, that we have a decision to make, or a problem or whatever, and we were looking to find guidance about it, but we are anxious about it, and if we sit and ask our guides to come through to us, to help us with it, we bring that anxiety with us, and that acts as a block, and it's difficult for our guides to get through to us. So it's better then that maybe if we allow it, that if we can actually hand it over to our guides, and that they will have, they'll come up with help in different ways, either through maybe somebody else, through a book maybe that one is reading, or through hearing something on radio, or listening or seeing something on television, or all sorts of different ways that the answers can come to us if we're open to it. That it doesn't have to come by way of a flash of lightning or something like that. And then also there's how do we actually find more relaxation? This was one of the things that, for me, in the early stages, said by way of communication, well, the three things were important, you know, patience, relaxation, and trust. I don't know which of them is the hardest. I suppose, in many ways, relaxation maybe, because our way of life brings a sort of restlessness and activity, and it's hard for us to be still. And yet it is, the more that we are still, the more that inspiration can come to us. It can drop in, like into a still pool. So ways to relax, how to relax. Well, what was suggested to me was that, I suppose if I'm sitting and I want to have a communication about certain things. And all sorts of random thoughts are coming into my head. And I'm sort of getting maybe involved in those thoughts and perhaps getting agitated by them. And I'm more and more restless, and I said, I'm sitting here and I want to relax, and I want to get answers. And yet, as I'm sitting, I'm becoming more and more up in a heap. So, the suggestions I got was, well, not to accept that random thoughts will come in, but not to get involved in them. In other words, not to follow them up. Just let them be. Make no judgment about them. Allow them just to be, and they'll go away. And as you do that, then that you become more and more relaxed, and then that it's easier for guides to get through to us. So that's another way, that if one can try that. Doing the relaxation is good anyway, in the sense that it's very helpful to be able to be in that way of being, that we can drop into that, the feeling of relaxation and that stillness, that can be very helpful to us in a general way in our lives, to stop us being agitated about things and so on, and to help us with the whole area of worrying, all that goes with that. And that then also that we can accept more readily that the connection with our guides is working, even though it may not be obvious, and that you'll probably find that there are things happening that it may seem like coincidences, different things that come up, maybe out of the blue sometimes. Essentially, well, not even essentially, but really there are no coincidences at all. That things happen. We find that there are signs, if you like, and ways that point the way for us, and that this is the way of our guides is sort of infinitely variable and flexible. There's nothing rigid about it at all, and there's if one way doesn't work, they'll find another, and so on. So that all I can say is that for myself, I found it very helpful in my life to be able to walk that way. I'm not always successful, of course. I get into my own sort of moods, if you like, in different ways, but yet essentially I'm aware of it, of being there, and that I can work with it, and that makes life easier. I didn't say that it makes life actually totally easy, but it makes it easier. So anyway, I leave that with you, and once again, thanks for listening. Bye for now.